Okay.
Alright, thank you all for being here today. Now, today, let me start off by painting you guys with a picture. The year is 1779. American vessels are in a dangerous battle with British gunships. We have Captain John Paul Jones commandeering the Baham Richard and several small other ships. As the battle intensifies, Jones's ship is severely injured in the battle. This prompts the British officers to then ask him, "Has your ship struck, sir?" This is an informal slang that is used for asking if you are surrendering. Jones tenaciously replies, "I have not yet begun to fight, sir." He then musters up his crew, proceeds to ram his ship, his already injured ship that's practically on the verge of sinking, into the British ship, boards it, kills off all the British sailors there, then commandeers the ship and sails it back to France, thus winning the battle for American forces. Now, you might be wondering why I brought up Jones. Jones is an unsung American hero whose war efforts led to the nation that we now enjoy. The reason why I selected him is because ever since I was a kid, I've loved American history, and on my free time, I've endlessly researched documentaries, films, books on the subject matter. From his early achievements in life to the American Revolutionary War, Captain John Paul Jones is the unsung American hero whose war efforts led to the nation that we now love and enjoy. First, I'm going to start off by telling you all about Captain John Paul Jones's early life achievements, and then finish off by telling you the achievements that he had earned himself in the American Revolutionary War. All right. So first, I'm going to start off by saying that when he was an early teen, according to the editors of Britannica and their article of the biography of John Paul Jones, Jones had started off at the age of 13 as a apprentice to a merchant ship over in England. He was with it for several years, and this just jump-started his early life into the actual world. Then, in a History.com article about John Paul Jones, just kind of piggybacking off of how he was an early life merchant, he was traveling the globe, and as you could all imagine, he was exposed to the Atlantic slave trade. Now, this is a dark spot on not just our nation's history, but the world's history. And you might be wondering what the achievement is out of this. Because he was exposed to that at such an early age, he then led on to get out of the merchant business, and then actually become an opponent of it. So he was actually one of the early life opponents about it. Now, moving on from his early life achievements, I'm going to start discussing his American Revolutionary War achievements. Now, according to the Naval History and Heritage Command article that is talking about Captain John Paul Jones, he had early on in the war, the Continental Navy, which was the precursor to the United States Navy, we were in desperate need of experienced sailors, so they called upon him. They awarded him by allowing him to take command of a sloop called Providence. And early on in the war, he had actually, over in 1776, he had raided several fisheries and other coastal towns over in Nova Scotia and captured 16 prize British vessels that he then used for our Continental Navy. Then, in the same article, it's also talking about how later on in the war, roughly 1777, 1778, he is awarded with being allowed to take command of a ship called the Ranger. And not a lot of people know this about the Revolutionary War, but Captain John Paul Jones had actually led several inland England raids on their coastal towns. He would raid the towns, attempt to burn their ship houses, and just raid them for supplies. Then finally, from the Central Rappahannock Regional Library, Virginia was talking about how Jones's arguably greatest achievement in his life had to have come on September 23rd, 1779, where he was in command of the Baham Richard, and he was in a vicious battle with several British gunships. As stated earlier, because of the intensity of the naval battle, his ship was gravely injured. The British officers ask him, "Has your ship struck yet?" He replies, "I have not yet begun to fight, sir." Several hours later, and after a couple rammings later, he then commandeers the ships and sails them to France, resulting in American victory and additional international support as well. Seeing how a small time army can be one of the world's superpowers of the time. And then, so today, just to summarize, I've talked about his early life achievements and the achievements that he's earned in the American Revolutionary War. From his early life achievements to the American Revolutionary War, Captain John Paul Jones is an unsung American hero whose war efforts led us to enjoy the nation that we now enjoy. If it were not for Captain Jones and his war efforts, several military historians have determined that if it were not for his war efforts, it was likely that Britain would make a greater naval effort to bombard our coastal towns. All right.
Good.